Hi everybody, so today I wanted to do a makeup tutorial inspired kind of by like a pinup, but this is a modern twist to it in the sense where there's no like definite matte shadows, there's a light shimmer to it, and the eyeliner isn't necessarily the main focal point. There is a little bit of color on the lids as well. So I'm going to start off, I already applied my NYX concealer in a jar as a base, and then I also went in with the Bonnabelle eyeshadow stick in the shade 14 Karat Gold, and I just applied that onto my lid and blended it out with my finger just as a sticky base for the gold eyeshadow. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going into that same palette that I've been using in my past couple tutorials. It's the 80s color palette, and I'm going to mix two golden colors. I'm going to mix this like olivey gold color right here with this more just standard yellow gold right here. So I'm going to take those two colors and focusing more with the yellow gold, just adding the olive gold for a little bit more brightness. And then I'm going to apply this to my lid on top of that shadow pencil. For the browns in the crease, I'm going to take just one more reddish toned brown. You can use anything that has a bit of warmth to it. And I'm going to take that onto a fluffy blending brush. Lightly, you don't need too much of the product. And I'm going to buff this into my crease. Now, if you feel like you picked too much up, just wipe off your brush and then use what you have to blend. And then once you have this pretty much blended nicely in your crease, you are going to take a smaller brush with that same color. Let me just buff it out a little bit better. And I'm going to pick that up onto a small smudger brush, and I'm just going to smudge this on my lower lash line. And the last step for the eyes before we go on to the eyeliner is to actually take a light satiny color eyeshadow, so something that's not too shimmery but not necessarily completely matte either. And I'm going to take that onto the same fluffy brush, I just wiped it off, and I'm going to run this underneath my brow to add a slight bit of highlight, but nothing that's too intense and nothing that stands out too much. You don't want it to be too bright. And then once I have that, I'm going to go into a small brush. This is the one that came with my Maybelline Eye Studios gel liner, and I'm going to go into that gel liner and pick up the product and wipe it off on the side of the pot so that there's not too much product there and you can get a pretty defined line. And then I'm just going to start creating my wing eyeliner. Now, if you feel like it's not intense enough or you don't get as crisp of a line the first time, just make sure you go in short strokes, and then you can also build up the color by doing a second or third layer. And that's it for the eyes. I'm going to go off camera and apply a bit of concealer and then add some mascara, and then I'll come back and show you what I did to finish up the look. So off camera, I finished up cleaning up my eyes. Now I'm going to move on to the lips. Now for my lips, I want to show you two ways that you can do it. One way is to do something like this, which is just like a lip stain. Now I personally don't have a lip stain type of product, so I took my lipstick, dabbed it onto the center of my lips, and then used my finger to just blend it out and smooth it out so that it gives me more of a lip stain effect. This also allows the color to last longer since you aren't applying such a thick layer of product onto your lips. Now I personally do like the way that this looks if you're going for daytime. If you're going to be nighttime and you want to play it up, then I suggest actually going in and applying a fairly thick layer of the lipstick and then going in with a separate gloss in the center. Now I'm going to show you both ways. This, I already have the lip stain on, and I do want to mention that if you have lighter skin, you probably would want to go with a more orangey based red, and then if you're medium to dark skin, a blue based red works best. I personally find that that's what works best on these skin tones. You can pick and choose depending on your preferences and what you like, but I personally find that these blue base and then orangey base complements those specific skin tones best. So just to each their own, whichever one you choose. So I'm using these two products in combination with each other. The lipstick that I'm using is the LA Colors lipstick in the shade Luscious Wine, and again it's a blue based red, just a deeper color. And I'm going to just sit up a little bit so you guys can see my full lip. And I'm going to thickly apply this just to get the full pigmentation all over my lips. So I'm not using a lip like liner first. I personally don't have one that's a red color. If you do, you might want to do that first because that will help it just last longer. You can leave the lipstick just like this, especially this lipstick. It's not a completely matte shade, so it doesn't make your lips look extra dry or anything like that. So you can leave it like this, but I want to go in with a separate lip gloss to add a bit more shine and just, you know, bump it up a little bit more. So I'm taking the shade Hot Coral by Sephora, which is a nice toned down red color, and I'm taking that onto the back of my hand and dipping my ring finger into it, and then lightly applying this to the center portions of my lip. And you can see it makes your lip look a little bit fuller, and it just adds a pop of shine. Now, I don't suggest if you're doing a red lip to bring the lip gloss all over your entire lip, because that will make the lipstick start to move and you can get bleeding, and then you can also just get it where it just starts smudging on the outer portions. So then you don't really want that. So I'm just going to focus it on the center, just to add a bit of shine, make your lips look fuller, but not necessarily make it just go everywhere. Now I'm going to go in and contour my cheekbones just a little bit to add slight definition. And the color that I'm going to be going into is this eyeshadow right here, and it's by e.l.f. and it's part of their 100 colors palette, I believe. And I'm actually going to be using that fluffy brush that I used for my crease color. I just wiped it off, and I'm going to just create a line where my cheekbones are. Now that I have my contour placed, I can go in with the same brush and lightly buff it out to get a really precise contour, or you can go in with a fluffier brush and just go in and buff that product in. And what it will do is you will still see that line, but it won't be as harsh as if you just left it unblended. So you can see it gives you just a nice contour. You get more definition to your cheeks, so you can see the difference between it being unblended and blended, and it just gives you that slight definition and nothing too harsh. Now that I have my contour placed, you can see between the two sides of my face that this side has a slight bit more color to my cheeks. I didn't want to leave them completely bare since the lips and the eyes are actually pretty dramatic, especially with the red lip. I didn't want my skin to look washed out. So I'm taking my Maybelline blush, and this is the Expert Wear blush in Dusty Mauve. And I'm just taking a little bit of that product. You don't even need a lot. You probably can't even see it on my brush. And I'm going to lightly buff it into my skin. And it will just add a light flush of color, nothing too intense, but it will add a little bit more realism and dimension back to your face. And that's it for the look. I hope you guys enjoyed my modern take on a pinup look. I do want to mention that I actually went in with this Bonnabelle eye mascara in the shade Plum, which is like a purpley mascara. I actually got this as a gift from my boyfriend for Christmas. But any type of like toned down colored mascara would work really nice with this look. I personally say purples work best, but you can use, you know, browns and things like that to actually just get more of like a toned down look instead of straight black. So I would suggest trying this out if you aren't a fan of like just full, thick, dark lashes. So that's it. That's all I had to mention as far as products goes. I do have my links below to all of my social networks. I will have a full list of products as well as a link to my previous tutorial, and I will also have a link to my eyebrow tutorial if you want to see how to get eyebrows that look similar to this. So that's it. I hope you all are having a wonderful holiday season, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, everybody.